How's it going, everyone? Coach Javi here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about what happens after college. So are you going to play professionally? Are there alternatives? Or are you just going to retire and play Sunday League? So I know it was a question that was asked in one of my videos. I figured it was a good topic for me to cover. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So before we get into this video, make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe. I'm posting a lot of educational content like this, as well as a lot of training sessions and training drills that you guys can use when you go out onto the pitch. And on top of that, if you guys like this video, make sure you go ahead and hit that thumbs up. So I know a lot of younger players aspire to play professionally, but they don't necessarily know how to go about that or what's gonna happen after their college journey. So I'm gonna break this video down into a couple segments that are hopefully going to cover the easiest way or the most straightforward way, and also some alternatives as well. So the most straightforward way is the MLS draft. If you were playing college soccer, specifically Division I, there's a chance that you could get drafted straight into the MLS. So the way that works is usually every January, the MLS holds a draft for the top players in Division I soccer. Now, there have been some players who have been drafted out of NAIA, maybe some Division II schools, but that's extremely unlikely. And I believe in the past year, out of about 100 players that got selected from the MLS draft, all of them were from Division I. So it's broken down into 4 rounds, and obviously in each round, a certain amount of players get selected. But towards the end, you'll notice that a lot of teams actually pass. So getting into late 3rd round and most of the 4th round, teams will actually pass on the players and they won't select anyone. So your best chances are to get selected in those first 2 rounds. For the most part, anything after the 1st round, you're not getting an automatic contract. Instead, you're just getting invited into the preseason. You might get cut, you might get loaned off to a USL championship side. Just because you were picked in the MLS draft doesn't actually mean that you're gonna sign a contract right away. Again, not only a reminder that you have to be playing Division I soccer, but you have to be one of the best players on your team, and your team has to do very well throughout the season. So most of the players that get picked are teams that are making it to the national championships. It's not as easy as just playing for a Division I team and then you have a good chance of getting drafted. You have to be one of the top players and on a top team as well. Finally, you don't have to be playing Division I to put your name into the draft. However, as I've said before, pretty much nobody outside of Division I is getting drafted. So what happens if you don't make it into the MLS draft? My suggestion is to hire an agent. So the reason for you to hire an agent is because they have a lot more connections than you will have coming out of college. Working with an agency that's gonna get you these invitational tryouts, or at least chart a course for your professional journey, is gonna make it a lot easier than if you were to try and reach out to all of these teams individually, because obviously you don't have those established connections just yet. So how do these agents and agencies work? Basically, an agent will sit down with you, they'll look at the level that you're at, they'll take a look at your highlight video, they'll get an idea of what is the level that you're most likely to be playing at, and then from there they're going to reach out to these teams to try and get you tryout opportunities. So agencies won't work with players that they don't believe are capable of playing professional soccer. So from your initial meeting, it's not like they're going to take you right away no matter how much you're willing to pay. If they feel like they're not going to be able to get you that contract, they're probably not going to want to work with you. However, if you do manage to work with an agent, they might charge you an upfront fee. They're going to charge you a percentage of your contract, or they might charge you both. Typically, what I believe the standard is about 10 to 15% of your contract. Agents can get expensive because on top of the fees that you have to pay them, you also have to have enough money saved up to actually go to these trials. A lot of times agencies will try and send you overseas, they'll send you across the country, and if you don't have money saved up for the flights, for the hotels, for the travels, you're not going to be able to go to these tryouts. They're not going to be able to just pick out the teams that you want to play for. Instead, they're going to pick out the teams that they have good connections with, that they feel you might be a good fit for. A lot of players in between their college seasons, they end up playing for amateur or semi-pro clubs. That means NPSL, UPSL, USL League 2. All of these leagues operate in the summer, and they're also good pathways to get you to the next level. So my suggestion, if you're going to try and play for an amateur club, is to make sure that you work with a club that has a direct pathway to the professional ranks. A lot of professional clubs have U23 sides or reserve sides that play in the summer amateur or semi-professional leagues. If you manage to play for them and you do very well, then there's a direct pathway to their professional club, which is playing obviously at a higher level. The added benefit of this is that you can work part-time, as most of these teams only operate during the summer months, and typically they know that a lot of their players have daytime jobs, so the training sessions will be in the afternoon after work. These clubs are going to give you the opportunity to save a little bit of money so that when you do make it into these professional tryouts and you do have to travel, you have a little bit saved up, and the time commitment is not as much as if it were a professional club. The good thing about these leagues is that it's a great way to stay in shape in the summer months if you're playing in college, but it's also a good opportunity to play at a high level where you have opportunities to move up. Finally, a lot of these clubs are local, so you might have more than just one option as far as where you want to play. So my next suggestion, I think, is probably the most important one, regardless of whether you make it to the MLS, whether you can hire an agent, or whether you're playing in an amateur club, is try and continue your education. So this is the path that I took. Immediately after graduating college, I was looking for graduate assistant opportunities. A graduate assistant basically acts as an assistant coach for a college program while they're completing their master's degree. So it's temporary. You're only there for about 2 years as you complete your degree. The good part about these opportunities is that you manage to start getting some coaching experience. You're gonna get your master's degree paid for, you might get some free housing, and on top of that, you might even get a salary or a monthly stipend. So it's a good way for you to stay in the game, and on top of that, get your graduate education paid for. Also, because being a graduate assistant only lasts 2 years, there's always new opportunities opening up. So my suggestion is that you reach out to your current college coach and see if there's any opportunities for you to be a graduate assistant after you graduate. That way you can stay in that school, get your master's degree right after you get your undergrad, and you don't have to take a break in between, which will cause a lot of people to eventually not even go back and get their master's degree. A master's degree is very important because it's going to help you in your application process when you're trying to get some coaching jobs at the college level, and on top of that, it's always a good idea to further your education. A lot of people don't have backup plans when they're trying to play professional soccer, and the problem with that is that you're never fully in control of that journey. The reason I say that is because no matter how good you are, there's always a potential that you could get injured and your career will be over. So I think not having this as a backup plan is not a smart thing to do, and on top of that, no matter what happens, nobody can take away your education. So if none of these things work out and you've decided you need to retire and just play Sunday League, just remember that there's nothing bad with deciding you just want to play for fun. You eliminate the competitive aspect and all the pressure, and the only stats in Sunday League that really count is how many nutmegs you can get. However, if you do retire and decide to just play Sunday League, if you want to stay in the game, I highly encourage you to get your coaching license, to get some local coaching experience at the recreational level, and then start building that profile up so that you can stay in the game on the coaching side of things. So I think that pretty much covers this video. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or any topics for future videos, go ahead and leave those in the comment section down below. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Until next time, and adios, muchachos.